Hey everybody, so I'm going to go ahead and what you're going to do is you're going to be taking some notes while I'm talking here, and when I'm done talking you're going to do some practice problems. You're going to be taking notes on 3.6 and 3.7 today. It's all about solving inequalities, which you're going to see is the exact same thing as solving equations. The only difference is we get to graph these as well. So we're going to go ahead and start. And inequality, just so we are clear, is when many numbers are included in the answer. Basically, it's not going to say x equals 5. It might say x is less than 5, which means any numbers less than 5 are possible answers. If when we graph them, there are two ways that we graph them. One is when there is an open circle. We use an open circle when there is a less than or when there is a greater than sign. And there is a closed circle when we use a less than or equal to sign or a greater than or equal to sign. So again, those will look like this when we graph, and this will look a little bit more you'll start to understand it once we get a little bit further. Right here, this says draw an arrow. This explains how you draw the arrow. I'm going to go through examples while we do these. So again, I just wanted you guys to put a little reminder for yourself. When you see a less than or a greater than sign, you are indeed doing an open circle. When we are doing a less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, you are indeed making a closed circle. All right. Now again, at any point, if you need to pause this video, please pause it, slow down, ask questions to the sub, do what you need to do. This is to make it so that you can go at your own pace here. Okay, so we're going to start by solving this problem. You'll see I wrote the problem again up top just because I ran out of room when I was doing this, and it's for spacing reasons, not for any other reason. So you can go ahead and put your notes underneath there. When I have x minus 5 is less than negative 8, I'm going to solve it the same way as if it were to say x minus 5 equals negative 8. There's no difference. The only difference is the fact that you see the inequality. So I split it up and I say, what am I going to do to both sides? And you're going to say, add 5, Ms. Schultz. So we add 5 to both sides. Once we've added 5 to both sides, you will tell me that I get x on this side and I get negative 3 on this side. The question is what goes in between them? Is it going to be an equals, a less than, or a greater than sign? And it's going to end up being a less than sign. When I am adding and subtracting with inequalities, all I am doing is I drop my symbol. I don't do anything else other than drop my symbol down. Now here comes for the graphing. When I am graphing the symbol, or when I'm graphing the inequality, I go ahead and I ask myself, should it be an open circle or a closed circle? And going back and looking at your notes from the previous page, you should realize it should be an open circle. So I look and I say, well, where does my open circle go? Well, my answer says at negative 3. So at negative 3, I make an open circle. The reason why it's open is because it says x is less than 3, negative 3, which means x does not include negative 3. And so we don't shade it in because it doesn't include that in the answer. Then I have to ask myself, am I going to shade right or am I going to shade left on this number line? So to determine that, I pick a number from each side of the circle, each side of that answer. And I say, which one, when I put into my inequality, works? For instance, if I put in negative 2 into my x, it would read negative 2 is less than negative 3. Is that true? You should say no, because negative 2 is actually greater than negative 3. So I am not shading to the right because that does not make sense and it does not make my statement true. So then I plug in negative 4. Is negative 4 less than negative 3? And you should say yes. So we go ahead and we shade in to the left. And that's how we graph an inequality. Excuse me. Number 2. when I go to solve this one, you should very quickly say, Miss Schultz, I'm going to add 7 to both sides. Yes, you are going to add 7 to both sides. And you will get y on one side and you will get -3 on the other. And what we are going to end up doing is we will just end up dropping our symbol down because we're just adding or subtracting to both sides. So we just drop our symbol down. And we go ahead and we find -3 and we put it, and I went ahead and graphed it all for you. We put a closed circle because it has an or equal to there, which means it includes it. So we put a closed circle. And I shaded to the left. I shaded to the left because if I plugged in -4 for y, it was correct. -3 is greater than -4. So it makes sense to go to the left. All right. Now look at number 3. Number 3 says, in a game of disc golf, the target is beyond a pond, the far end of which is 300 feet away. Your first throw travels 134 feet. How long does your second throw have to be in order to clear the pond? So I know you want to just give me the answer, but like always, I'm going to ask you to write an inequality. You should say one side will be x plus 134 and the other is 300. You're correct. Now the question and the difficult part about inequalities is what symbol goes in between that? This one's a greater than or equal to. I decided that by asking myself a series of questions, and these are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Question number 1. Can my throw be less than 300? And your answer should be no, because it has to go past the pond. So then it's, can my throw be more than 300? And your answer is yes, which is why there's a greater than symbol. The next question is also very important. Can my throw equal exactly 300? And your answer is yes, because all it's saying is it has to clear the pond. It doesn't say it has to go past, it just says it has to clear it. So we use a greater than or equal to symbol here. What are you going to do to both sides to solve this? As you will probably tell me very quickly, you would subtract 134. You are correct. And you get x is greater than or equal to 166. And that should say feet. Please put feet on yours. And we have our answer. Okay. So again, to recap 3.6, when we solve addition and subtraction problems, we solve them like normal. The difference is that we take our symbol and we drop it down. The main difference that we're doing today is we're graphing. We put a circle wherever it says our answer is. So wherever our answer is, we put a circle. We have to decide if it's a closed or an open. It is a closed if it has an or equal to, and it is an open if it does not. We decide which way to shade on the number line by taking a number from each side of the circle and plugging it in and seeing which one makes your statement true. So for this instance, we plugged in -2. We said that doesn't make sense. -2 is not less than -3. So then we plugged in -4 and we said -4 is less than -3. So we shade to the left. Okay, so that was 3.6. I'm going to go ahead and ask you. You are going to do 3.7 next, but there we go.